Center with me, Connor Sartain, and
Max Higgins, and we are here today to interview
Balfour, Hunnicutt.
Okay. What was a typical... sorry. Please say your name and tell me when you attended or worked at Barrow.
I think it was back in 1934 when I started. It was either 34 or 35. And I lived up there in Woodlawn and Millage, which is not too far from here, as you guys might know. I used to walk to school some because it was pretty close. And I walked through people's backyards. And I remember one place up here on Lumpkin Street, there were some guys that grew cotton up there on Lumpkin Street where the apartments are now. And we'd get to school and we'd always have a prayer in the morning. And then we'd make a pledge of allegiance to the flag. And then we'd start off that way. I remember a lot of it. My first grade teacher was Miss Rosa Maddox. And everybody liked their teachers back then. I know y'all like yours now, too. But a typical day was just coming on in here and going to school. And I think we came about 9 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember the exact time. And way back then, they didn't have the lunchroom set up. We'd bring our lunch back. It wasn't a basket. We had a pail. It was a bucket. We called it the lunch bucket. And there's a little bucket about that big and had a top you put on it. But my mother would make me a sandwich and some cookies or something like that. But they'd always have something for you to drink over there, some milk. And just a typical day, we'd go into class and hang your hat and coat in the cloakroom. And you still have a cloakroom?
We have a cloakroom.
Yeah. And it just started like that, and the teachers would teach us. And we used to sing a lot, and I always remember singing a lot.
Did you? So what did students do for fun at recess if you had recess?
Well, we'd go out there, and back then we played. When we were young, we shot a lot of marbles. Did y'all ever play marbles?
No, I didn't really play marbles back
then.
then.
And the principal of our school was Miss Flanagan. She was the principal back then. And we used to she liked to be competitive. We'd get in essay contests and all kind of things about what was going on. But we'd play marbles, and Eam had a marble championship that we won. Barrow School won, and the guy won was Terry Wingfield. And he's still around. I went all the way through school with Terry. But Terry was a champion marble shooter back then. The ring marbles and make a big round ring about 6 or 7 feet in diameter, and then have a cross in the middle, and you shoot in there. And knock the marbles out. But we used to do that, and we used to play a smaller marble game. That they call it pig eye. You draw like a pig's eye on the ground. And you always throw up there to a line to see who's going to shoot first. And we used to play, it was called keeps. If you played keeps, you kept the guys' marbles. And the guys that were really good, they'd end up with 400 or 500 marbles. They'd carry them around a sack. A sack full of marbles. But we used to do that, and we played the other games, running around, chasing each other, dodging ball, stealing sticks, and games like that. We got a little older, and we played some baseball. And we'd race a lot. We had always racing. And I was pretty fast. I was a real small guy when I was going back then. I'm still pretty small, but I was very small then. But we just had a good time. It was fun. I liked to go to school. And I liked the teachers. They were so nice.
What did you enjoy about school?
Mostly.
I enjoyed the recess like all the guys. We'd get out there and play. And I tell you another game we played, and I know y'all don't do it now, but everybody had a knife, a pocket knife. And we'd play what they call territory. and you stand up there, and you draw a square on the ground, and you throw your knife, and if you're stuck in there, you draw a line, and then you throw your knife and you stick it in another place. And pretty soon, if you were real good, you'd get the whole territory. But we did stuff like that, and we used to whittle a lot, whittle stuff out of wood, and just, that was about all we did. We never had any trouble or anything at all.
Yeah. Well, we're not allowed to have like pocket knives here at school anymore or any of that kind of stuff.
No, you can't do that now. No, no, that's too bad.
Well, were any of the Barrow traditions? Were there any Barrow traditions like
Your favorites?
Like what?
Barrow traditions like that you do every year?
Yeah, we should. Well, I was telling you, we used to. Miss Flanagan liked to enter a lot of contests, and whenever there was a contest, we'd all enter it. You'd write out a theme or something about a certain subject. But
Did you ever celebrate any holidays?
we always celebrated the holidays. We even used to celebrate a thing called May Day,
May Day.
and I don't know what that was back then, but it was a flagpole, and you run around the maypole. That's when we were very young. You ever heard of the May Day? I don't know whose day it was, really, who we celebrate. But we always celebrated everything. We always talked about George Washington and did a lot of history stuff. We stayed up with history. And like I tell you, Miss Flanagan wanted everybody to be informed. And in some of the classes, when we got a little bit older, we'd make a report of what we'd heard on the radio. And that's about all. And, things like that. But we always had a lot of respect for the teachers. I don't ever remember anybody really getting out of hand. If you got out of hand, and Miss Flanagan would just talk to you. And she had a pedal up on the wall, and I don't know whether she really ever used it. She didn't use it on me because I didn't go in there but one time. And I can't remember. If you talked, you'd have to go talk to. If you misbehaved, you had to go talk to the principal. If you really did something the teacher didn't like. But there was a lot of discipline back then. Well, if you just kept messing up, they'd probably tell you, you're going to have to go see Miss Flanagan if you don't straighten up. They'd tell you that. There were very few people that misbehaved a lot, Everybody liked their teachers. I liked my teachers. I knew Miss Rosa Maddock and Miss Marion Bloomfield. She never did like for you to erase anything. She wanted you to be real neat, when you were starting out. That was the second grade. And if you erase stuff, sometimes she'd take your pencil away from you so you wouldn't erase everything. And then if you did something real bad, if you kept talking, carrying on, sometimes they'd slap your hand with a ruler. Like, they wouldn't do it hard, anything, just kind of make you feel bad because you misbehaved. There wasn't any cruel things, nothing like that at all. Just stuff to help you out and get you on the right path, doing what they wanted you to do.
What are your favorite memories or stories of Barrow?
I don't know. It was just being over here. There was just so many things. We were always doing something. We were always busy, either playing or studying. And we stayed busy the whole time. I think when we were very young, we used to have rest periods. I started over here. I was about 5 years old. My birthday is October the 18th. So school started in September. So I started, just a month or so earlier. But that's about it. I just liked to go to school back then. There wasn't a lot of other things to do, like you guys have, have all kind of things and all kind of machines and stuff you can play on or do and learn on. You guys are so smart now, I'd have to go back to school. I'd have to come back to Barrow School and start over.
Yeah, we've looked through like the scrapbooks of earlier Barrow traditions and all that. They celebrated much more than we do now, and there were many other things that were much different.
Yeah.
Like cafeteria looked much different. Have you taken a look around this?
No, I haven't had a chance to do. I was over here about 10 years ago. They had a reunion for the people that had been, and we looked around at some. Oh, it was entirely different from this.
Yeah.
It wasn't near as large as this is.
Yeah. Well, so what historical events happened, like, that you can remember while you were at?
Not a lot of. Well, there's always something changing, you know, just like we do now, like you're going through changes. But it wasn't as fast then as it is with y'all, with all the technology and things that you have. But we celebrated just about all the birthdays and things and talked about a lot of people. And it was getting close to the war start. You know, the war started in 1941. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And I was about 11 years old then, about 11 or 12. And I was going, well, they had another school, Patty Hillsman, that I went to in the 7th and 8th grade. And then I went to the high school, Athens High School. But no, there just wasn't a lot of other things to do. There were some things that guys could get in. I was a member of the YMCA. I like the YMCA. Go down there and swim and play baseball and some football. But I liked that. But it had to be a lot slower than what y'all have. You have any kind of sports you want to get into, and all kind of things, and fax machines and things you can fight wars with. And do y'all have any of those?
I like to go outside and have wars with my friends.
What?
I still like to go and do wars outside, like in the woods.
We used to battle all the time. We did. I forgot about that when the kids in our neighborhood. You know, we all grew up in the same neighborhood. That was one thing. The neighborhood schools, and most of the people in that area would go to the school, like Barrow. And we used to have rubber gun battles. We'd get a piece of board about that long, and we'd make a gun out of it and put a clothespin on one end, and we'd get these old inner tubes out of cars, you know, out of automobile. They don't even have any more inner tubes now, I don't think. But we'd cut them up in these round strips and put it on the end of your rubber gun and pull it back, and you'd hold it with a clothespin. And when you're going to shoot somebody, you'd mash that clothespin and it'd release it. I forgot about all that.
And it'd shoot the rubber?
Yeah, just shoot it out so it'd be tight on that. And when you released it, it'd be just like you shooting a spitball. We used to have spitballs, but boy, you didn't want to get caught shooting spitballs in class. That was, you take a rubber band and put it between your fingers, and you put it back like that, and take a piece of paper and kind of wet it a little bit, make it round, and then fold it over there, and boy, you could pop somebody with that.
A slingshot?
But they didn't like that. They don't like a slingshot. Little handmade deal.
How did your time at Barrow influence you in your life?
Maybe I don't not tell y'all all this stuff. You're not going to start doing this, are you? But those are things, and life was really simple, I guess you'd say something. You had a lot of friends, you knew everybody in the neighborhood, you went to school, you just about lived with them. What you got?
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about Barrow?
No, I can't share much other than that. It was just a friendly place.
And do you remember?
It's still friendly, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember your last day, like what the tradition was like? Do you remember the graduation?
We didn't have, I don't remember much of the graduation at all. We really didn't graduate. You know, every year, if you made your grades, you know, you had to make certain grades to pass. We got A's and B's and C's back there, and D's and F's. if you got that bad, but there weren't many people that didn't pass. And if you weren't doing real good, you could get a tutor. Somebody would help you. If you were a little bit slow. And but we just all passed. If you just pass, you just get a notice that you'd passed from first grade to second grade to third grade to fourth grade to fifth grade to sixth grade, and there were 6 grades here. And then we'd go into junior high.
Were there any like accomplishments that you needed to pass? Like today, you need to pass like reading and math. Did you need to do that when you were here?
No, we didn't have many big tests like that. You'd be tested in the class all along, you know, through the school year. But I don't remember any final tests till I got into university.
And like no CRCT or any of those tests?
I don't even remember those at all. We didn't have any stuff like that. Teachers were just right up there with you all the time. They had an organization, you know, that, of course, the Board of Education and everything that looked after the teachers. The teachers back then couldn't be married, and most of them, if they got married, they would turn their ring around where nobody'd see it. They didn't want the teachers to be married. They wanted to, I guess they wanted to be full-time teachers, you know, do nothing but teach. So that was one of the early things that the school did. We didn't have anything to do with that, of course. I was just so young back then, you know, and all the teachers looked so pretty and older. They all seemed so old. I was so young. But it was just a friendly situation up there. We never had any big troubles that I can remember. It was just nice and friendly.
There's like no bullies or anything. No one that got in trouble.
That's what?
There's like not much of bullies or anyone that got in trouble too much.
No, not really. There was always some guys in there that could do things better than you could. You know, it's when you're growing up. There's some guys that'll be bigger than you are. I grew up real slow, and I remember there's a couple of guys in there that were pretty tough that would try to control the deal. I remember one of them was George Tutwiler, and we always respected George Tutwiler. And there was another guy that I can't remember his name. We had to watch him, Joe Shifley. He was a sort of big guy and had red hair, and that didn't make any difference, but he was pretty tough. He'd push you around a little bit if you didn't watch him. But other than just didn't have a lot of trouble like that. I guess we were lucky. It was lucky. It was nice. Most of the people everybody was over here just respected each other. I think that's what it was. And then having the school, the teachers the way they were. And Miss Flanagan really controlling everything. She never let it get out of hand, you know. If you misbehaved, you got talked to. It wasn't just pushed off or brushed off. You had to go in there and hear about it.
Yeah, well, were there any subjects that you most liked, or are there any that troubled you, or?
Spelling. I still can't spell good. G-O-O-D, I can spell good. No, I remember spelling. I know after I got out and I'd run across some of the old papers here and there, and it says Balfour needs to improve his spelling. Way back then. But that was about the only one. All the others just came pretty easy, really, because of the teachers. Just kept you in there studying.
Was there anything that you were, like, really, really good at? Like, doesn't have to be a subject, like anything you're really good at.
That I was really good. I tell you another thing we used to do. We used to have a lot of plays. Yeah.
We have musicals.
And you sang. You still sing a lot. That's good. We used to sing a lot. We used to sing in a lot of. Just every class I ever went into, we'd sing songs. That was the fun part. But no, it was. I always think of how lucky I am to have been grown up the way I was. My parents wouldn't love me. I had 2 sisters and a brother, and I was young. I was 5 or 6 years younger than they were, and 10 years younger than one, my oldest sister. But I just kind of grew up a little bit separated from them. So I enjoyed having friends, in the neighborhood, other than the family at that point. I mean, we all got along good together, but we wasn't really all that close because there was a big difference in our age at that time. 5 or 6 years at that period of your life is like, a big distance. But I guess that's one reason I like the neighborhood and the people in it.
Thank you very much. That's all we really...
Is that all you need to know?
So...